With Prime Icons finally coming to FIFA 23, today I'm going to be ranking all 100 Prime Icons on FIFA 23. We have built up a tier list. It consists of 6 tiers, the highest tier being Elite, Very Good, Good, Meh for the not so great icons, but probably a little bit usable depending, the Avoid tier, which is for the icons which you'd want to avoid, and the Fodder tier, which is for the icons that have got no other use but for a squad building challenge. Now before we get into this video as well, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch as well and let me know in the comments at the end of this what you agree with and what you disagree with. Remember, it's a little bit of fun, but from FIFA 21 when I started recording play reviews, I have reviewed over 400 cards and I'd say I have used at least 80% of these icons at some point. So I think most of these, right, I know how the game works, I know how the game style works, I know what you can expect from some of them, and as well we are going to have a foot bin tab up, which if I do get stuck looking at the icons, we want to look at their stats a little bit deeper, a little bit further, then we can do that. But I feel like I know how lots of these guys will be in game, and for that matter I have used quite a few of them. So without further ado, let's get into it. But anyway, we're going to start off with Costa. We're going to put him into the Avoid tier. I genuinely don't think he is a brilliant card whatsoever. Then Nistelrooy is going to join him in the Avoid. In fact, you could even debate Fodder, but we'll keep it nice for now and we'll have him in the Avoid tier. Zanetti. Now, assuming he's got an alternative position in the midfield like CDM, I think he is a solid icon. I'm going to put him into the Good tier. I think Zanetti is actually maybe a little bit slow for the fullback position, but with a shadow, I actually think Zanetti's quite underrated. Chevy as well, I'm going to put into the Good tier. Do not pay attention to the order of them. There's going to be no specific order. For example, I'm not saying I think Zanetti's higher in the Good tier than Chevy. It's just the order we're putting them in. But I think Chevy's a really underrated card. Use him as and utilize him as a more attacking minded centre mid, more so than a defensive, because he doesn't quite have the body type and physical stats for a defensive midfielder. So make sure you use him as a box to box or an attacking minded centre mid. With Nesta, look man, I'd say avoid Fodder if you have him untradeable and you've got lots of other better centre backs. I think if you're looking at it from a coin point of view, there are so much better value centre backs. For example, I would rather a gold Marquinhos than this, or a gold Van Dijk than Prime Nesta. And I can guarantee you this Prime Nesta will probably be more expensive than a gold Van Dijk. But if you get him untradeable and you do use him, we'll put him in a Void. If you're looking at it from a do I buy this card point of view, I'll put him in the lowest tier. I would not recommend doing that. But we'll put him in the Avoid tier. Baggio, I'll put into the Good tier as well. I think the stamina lets this card down a little bit, but still, he's small, agile, 5-star skill moves as well. Desailly is very good. I'm going to leave that there. He is very good, especially for Prime. His base is phenomenal. His mid is very good. Especially, I mean, his mid can play centre back this year anyway, so his mid is great. His Prime is even better. We're going to put him into the Very Good tier. Cannavaro, his Prime card is actually his worst card. I believe his base card is a lot faster, and this year, obviously, I don't think the smaller, agile centre backs are as effective this year as they were last year. I believe he is 5'9". I could be wrong in saying, but I think Cannavaro is 5'9", might be 5'10" actually, but I'm going to put him into the... am I feeling nice? Am I feeling nice? It's between good or meh. We'll put him into good, alright? We'll be nice. Zola, very good. I really like Zola on this game. Philip Lahm, play him in the midfield rather than a fullback, and you have got a brilliant CDM on your hands. He does have high work rates, which can be a little bit annoying at CDM. It depends what you want and what you want him to offer, whether you want a box-to-box DM, or whether you want to stay back CDM. But we'll put him into the very good tier as well. We've got Bastian Schweinsteiger. We'll put him into the meh. I think he's got 76 pace, and if he had a little bit more pace, I'd be all over him. I think he's not bad, and he's definitely usable. He's just not ideal, and I probably wouldn't take him above one of these good icons. Next up is Seedorf. We're going to put into the low tier good. Could maybe debate meh as well. I think his mid card is probably better than his prime, and I'll just leave it at that. Next up is Shevchenko. Now, the annoying thing with this card is he's a little bit heavy on the ball, and that is what you get with lots of Shevchenkos, and you can sadly not make this card lengthy. He's going to be controlled no matter the chem style, which puts you in a position, and I feel like it's a little bit like it's kind of utterly useless, right? If you are a heavier player, but you cannot be lengthy, because then you've not really got anything going for you. Whereas if he was, you know, maybe maybe 70 agility, at least he'd be lengthy, at least he'd have the accelerate type working for his favour. He'd have a great shot on him, he's relatively fast for a big man, would be able to win quite a few aerial duels, but at the end of the day, he's going to be heavy on the turn, therefore we're going to put him into the meh tier alongside Schweinsteiger. Steven Gerrard, underrated, we're going to slap him into the good tier. His mid card especially, I believe, is very close to Hullet gang. I think he's only like 2 defensive stats, but I think Gerrard genuinely looks like an underrated card, and I think his mid card upwards is always underrated on FIFA. You see English centre mid, you get sad, but he's definitely the best English centre mid. Whether you think that's the case in real life, I think he's the best English centre mid in FIFA 23. In fact, he's just free pace and free defending off Hullet gang. 90 shooting, 90 passing. Dude, as a box-to-box midfielder, chuck a shadow on him, boom, look at that card. That's a brilliant card. Now, Kaka, I always say I think this card has been shafted on FIFA, but we're going to put him into the very good tier. Once again, do not pay attention to the order of it. If we were doing it by order, Kaka would 100% be up at the top, but 100% I'm happy in putting him in the very good tier. He is, although I think his prime moments card he's had in previous FIFAs. I don't think we're getting moments this year, but I feel like that's what his prime stats should look like. He's been shafted in FIFA in my opinion, but I still think he's very good. 5-star skills, he's got great dribbling along with a stocky body type. Is a really nice combination to use. Zinedine Zidane, the first player in the elite tier. He can play as a cam, he can play as a box-to-box centre mid, an attacking-minded centre mid, a defensive-minded centre mid, an attacking-minded CDM. I wouldn't really use him as a defensive CDM, but still, he can do everything. He's 5-star, 5-star. It's Zinedine Zidane. He is going into the elite tier. Vidic will put into the good tier. Hernandez will put into the... We'll put him into the meh tier. Once again, do not pay attention to the order. We'll chuck him into the average tier with Perez going into a void. Not really a fan of Perez. It's another case similar to Shevchenko, where, and even as an Arsenal fan, it hurts me to say, it's a similar case to Shevchenko, where he's got a bigger body type, he's less agile, he can't be lengthy. So it's like, what does he offer, right? He's got the basic running type, and he's just going to be heavy. He's not going to turn great on the ball. So it's like, what does he offer, if you get what I mean? And for example, he's going to be maybe 100,000 coins at least, whereas I'd rather just buy a gold Neymar for 80k. A Euro, now I'm not too convinced with this card. I think similar to Nesta. We'll chuck him alongside Nesta in a void. Could debate maybe low-end meh, high-tier avoid, that's just up to you, but we'll chuck him into the avoid. Petit, I actually think is a solid CDM. If you use him as a CDM, which is where I think his best position is, he's like a budget Vieira. Sure, he's a lot shorter, but I still think he's a great CDM option. We're going to put him into the good tier. Thierry Henry, the king, the greatest player, or the greatest striker to play Premier League football. Thierry Henry is going to be very good. I wish I could, you know, if it was realistic, he'd be going into the elite tier alongside Kaka, but sadly, these guys have always not been, you know, Henry and Kaka have always not really been amazing on FIFA like they were in real life, so we'll put him into the very good. Hadji, I actually think Hadji's good, you know. I really like Hadji in FIFAs. Last year, I think he had a prime icon SBC. I mean, he had his Future Stars, his son, Future Stars Hadji was in there as well. It was a lot of fun. And I actually really like Hadji. I know he's got a World Cup icons this year, and I've not used him, but I've heard he's really fun, and I think he looks like a solid card. We'll put him into the good tier. Sanchez, I believe, is 3-star weak foot, if I'm not wrong, or 3-star skill moves. Might be 3-star skill moves. It's one or the other. He's good other than that, and if he was literally 4-star, or like 5-star, 4-star, if his weak foot and skill moves was a tad better, his stats would look phenomenal. But just because of that reason, we'll put him into the good tier. Once again, if he had amazing weak foot and skill moves, he'd be in the very good. But we'll put him into the good tier. Makelele, I will also put into the good tier. I think he's like an icon version of Kante. Baresi is going to go into the avoid tier. And I feel like lots of the slower centre-backs, look, I'm not saying they're not usable, the slower centre-backs. I just think the slower centre-backs, and I'll be honest with you guys, right, there's so much better options. Like, sure, if you got them untradeable, sure, they might be okay for you. Defensively, they'll be good. If you do use one of the slower centre-backs, I would recommend pairing him up with a more faster, agile centre-back to definitely compensate for their pace, so at least you've got a centre-back that can and does have the capability of being able to drop back. But I feel like, dude, you'd just be better off buying a gold Marquinhos or something along those lines, you know what I mean? And as ratty as it sounds, you know, some people might enjoy using the slower centre-back icons. Players, maybe they're Italian, because, I mean, Nesta, Baresi, Italian, maybe they play for their club and you just want to have fun with them. I don't blame you, fair enough, that's personal preference. But for me, I would not be using these cards in Division 1, alright? Carlos Alberto, put him into very good. I hope he is an alternative position of a centre-back. If so, he'd be a great centre-back. He'd be a solid right-back. I think he's a really good card, man. We'll put him into very good. Cantona. Oh, Cantona, elite or very good. Look, I feel like Cantona is a Thierry Henry, except with 5-star skill moves. And for that case, we're going to put Cantona into elite. I might change that later on, but for now, he is an elite. Ronald Koeman, we'll put into meh. Bobby Moore, it's the same thing. Slower centre-backs, we'll chuck him into the avoid tier. Johan Cruyff, Johan, by the way. I say Johan, it's a habit. I do it on Twitch all the time because I've got a viewer called Johan. No, it's Johan, all right? The J is silent. Johan Cruyff is going into the elite tier. 5-star, 5-star. What else do I need to say? It is Johan Cruyff. Socrates is good. I like Socrates on this game. 5-star weak foot. He is a giant. 6'4", I think he is. He's an absolute giant. 4-star skill moves with a 5-star weak foot. He's a little bit heavy on the turn. I think he's got like 50 balance. But if you use him as a primary target, man, you'll get along with him. Prime Butragueno, we'll put him into the very good tier. His World Cup icons for me was solid. He's very small, gets pushed off a ball, but he has got the 5-star weak foot, and I like that. This is Van Basten. Now, I actually pulled Van Basten for a viewer earlier, and he was 70k. It was his mid Van Basten. Now, the Prime Van Basten definitely looks a little bit better. We're going to put him into the good tier. Maybe even meh. Once again, we might change it later. Oh, we'll put him into the meh, alright? We got to be a little bit harsh. We got to be a little bit harsh today. Rijkaard is absolutely phenomenal defensively, maybe lacking in the dribbling and the pace side of things, but absolutely amazing defensively. We'll put him into the meh tier. You know what? Nah, we'll be nice. We'll put both him in. We'll keep Van Basten in the meh, but we'll put Rijkaard into the good tier. Hullet, elite. It's Ruud Hullet. Need more, I say. Centre mid, box-to-box attacking centre mid, attacking minded DM, similar to Zidane. It's just Hullet. He's got the here trait. He's an absolute giant. You're in the midfield playing Hullet, just be prepared to get absolutely destroyed, okay? He's insane. Gary Lineker is going into a void. Really, really mid-card. Not a fan of him whatsoever, like at all. I think 3-star, skill move 3-star, I think he is. Maybe 3-star, 4-star. Not a fan of him. Davor Suker, actually underrated on FIFA. His World Cup icons was great. So this one, which is 1 rating better than his World Cup, or even 2 ratings better, we're going to put him into the good tier. Loudrop, we're going to put into meh. Could debate low tier good. Once again, the meh tier is kind of players that I'm not too convinced on, but they'll definitely be usable. George Best is going into the very good tier, along with the big boys, Thierry Henry, Kaká, George Best, alright? Riquelme, avoid. Avoid. I think he's got like 60-something stamina. Just avoid, man. Avoid. Pele is going into elite. It's Pele. He's Pele. He's phenomenal. What I really love about Pele, small body type, agile, 5-star skill moves, I think 4-star weak foot. He's phenomenal, man. I absolutely love Pele on this game. I've played him a couple times. He's destroyed me both times. I think I had his loan at some point as well. Destroyed people in there with friendlies. Honestly, massive fan of his card. As always, every single year, it's Pele. He's not going to disappoint. Yeah, Sheen, you know what? We're going to put all of the goalkeepers just to avoid controversy. Goalkeepers are really good for some people. There's only one goalkeeper, which I am going to put into the very good tier, alright? And that is not going to be Yashin. We're going to put Yashin in good tier, like all of the other goalkeepers except one. And there's one goalkeeper which I really love on this game. He never seems to fail me, alright? So we're saving that very good goalkeeper spot. We're reserving that for someone special, and that man is not Yashin. Del Piero we'll put into high tier good. You know what? We'll put him into very good. Lower tier of the very good. Could debate good or very good. I like Del P on this game. I used his mid card for over 300 games this year, and he was phenomenal. Puyol, I'm actually going to put into a meh. If it was last FIFA, and I know before you say, you said you're putting the slower centre backs in a void, I think what Puyol offers over Hierro, Nesta, Baresi is he's actually quite short, therefore he kind of turns a bit nicer, and on the turn, although he's a bit slow on the turn, he's a little bit nicer than those big boys. Dennis Bergkamp, I'll put into the high tier good. With Kluivert, I will put him into the meh. Patrick Vieira is going to elite. I've got the 90 rated World Cup Vieira from the World Cup swaps. And when I tell you he's the best player in my team, he is the best player in my team. So I could only imagine how good this 91 rated is. Schmeichel, as I said, going with the goalkeeper. Roberto Carlos, very, very good. Lothar Matthäus, very good. The highest tier of very good, maybe even elite. Maybe even elite. We'll keep him at the very good. We'll put him all the way at the top just so it looks prettier. But you could definitely debate he could go into elite. Maldini, as well, exact same as Matthias. You could debate both Maldini and Matthias go into elite. What I really dislike with Maldini's base and mid card is the low aggression. I believe his prime card has got a little bit better aggression. I think 79 aggression maybe. I could be wrong there. I think go for an anchor for that aggression boost, even a backbone if you have to, because that low aggression, he's got 66 aggression on his base card, and for me it ruins that whole card because you need aggression as a centre back, right? So Maldini, dude, if he had better aggression, he'd be 100% elite, but we'll keep him in the very good. Matthias as well, you could debate elite or very good. Blanc, we're going to put into the good, with Larson also going into good. I think Larson is low-key a little bit of an underrated card on this game. Vieri, we found our fodder. We have found our first fodder. Vieri, I got his mid card. I decided to use him for a couple games, but he turns like a double-decker bus. He is absolutely awful. He is, with Inzaghi no longer in the game, Vieri is the new Inzaghi. Italian striker, no. He's our first fodder. Not hearing any debates. I'm sorry, I'm not, okay? The rest of the tier list, all right, get debating, get those friendly discussions, and I'm all for it. Vieri is fodder. Roy Keane, put into meh. I think he's usable, just not great, he's just meh. Closer as well, he's a heavier type of striker. In fact, you know what, maybe low tier good. Low tier good, look, his World Cup, I actually enjoyed his World Cup icon quite a lot, and I've actually been destroyed by his World Cup icon quite a lot, so we'll put him into the good. Eusebio is going into elite, absolutely phenomenal, the small body type, the dribbling, the 5-star weak foot, unpredictable in the box. Eusebio is phenomenal. Veron we're going to put into a void, I think he's just a little bit slow. Sol Campbell we'll put into good as well. Gattuso we're going to put into a void, maybe even fodder. Is that our second fodder for 2 Italians? Will be nice to Gattuso. We'll put him into a void. Paul Scholes is going into a void as well. And we'll go with Barnes. I called him Ashley Barnes last time. It's John Barnes, isn't it? Yeah, John Barnes. We're going to put into meh. Garincha, along with Matthias and Maldini. Very good. Kind of in between a very good and elite tier, in my opinion. We'll keep him there. Dalglish is very nice. We'll put him into very good. 100% very good. Dalglish is phenomenal on this game. Ian Rush, meh, not great. Ian Wright, the 2 Ians back-to-back. Ian Wright as well. We'll go with Ian Rush. Unless you're an Arsenal fan, you might have some fun with him. But other than that, Beckham. Now, he does have an alternative position as a centre mid. And I do think using this card as a centre mid would be so much better than a right mid. He's not quite fast enough. And although his main position's a right mid, he would be much better suited to the centre mid role. If you're looking at him from a right mid perspective, he'd be a void. But what, or even meh, maybe. But once he can play centre mid, I will chuck him into the good tier, alright? Zambrotta, phenomenal. I really like Zambrotta on this game. Chuck him into the very good. With Puskas is going to break the deadlock between very good and elite. I think he's a tiny bit better. Right? If someone came to me and said, would you rather Maldini or Puskas? I'd take Puskas. Would you rather Garincha, etc., Matthias, Best, or Puskas? I'd take Puskas. So I feel like that's going to be the difference, and we're going to just going to edge Puskas and put him into the elite tier. Van Persie will put him into the good tier, more than usable. His World Cup icons are solid. In fact, you could even debate very good for him, but we'll keep him in the good tier for now. Muller, a new icon. Now, this is not his prime icon dynamic, exact same with Jairzinho and Xabi Alonso. Footbin have for some reason not updated their prime icon images. So these are what their mid icon images are, but obviously we are ranking their prime icon card. Muller, we will put into very good around the top as well, the big boys. Jairzinho, for me, is going into elite, and Xabi Alonso is going into a void. Now, let me touch on Xabi Alonso. I just think he's underwhelming. Nothing crazy at all, just a little bit mid. Let me touch on Muller. I think he's a great card. I actually haven't played him much at all, but on paper, he looks phenomenal. I'll put him into the very good tier. I think he's very similar to Thierry Henry, to be honest. A little bit shorter, I believe, but very similar. I think he's a lot more agile as well, to be fair. So maybe he's not too similar. But in the elite tier, Jairzinho, the prime Jairzinho. I have played mid and base Jairzinho maybe 7 or 8 times this FIFA, and every single time I have conceded to him. He's got an afro in game, and you just see that afro running at you. It's all over. I think his base is an afro anyway. And trust me, this card is phenomenal. In my opinion, he's a better version than Garincha, right? So Jairzinho just makes it into elite. Ronaldinho, my boy Ronaldinho is going into elite. Didier Drogba, I'm going to put into good. I think he's better than Van Persie, and he's better than all of the icons in the good tier, but I don't think he's better than any of the icons in the very good tier, so we'll keep him at the high tier good. Ashley Cole, we'll just chuck into good, could do the job as a left back. Ballack, I'll put into good as well. Whoops, did not mean to do that. But yeah, Ballack I will chuck into good. R9 Ronaldo, there he is. There he is, we found him. It's just reserving the #1 elite spot for R9. I hate playing this card. I probably average whenever I play R9, which just happens quite a lot in the high tier foot champs and Division 1 and stuff. Honestly, if I play an R9, probably concede to him an average of two times a game maybe. He's ridiculous. I hate playing him. I hate playing him. Rivaldo, look, Rivaldo would be a very good card if he didn't have a 2-star weak foot. We'll put him into good, but he could definitely be a very good card if he had a better weak foot, man. This is Raul. I don't know why I had to double take and look at him twice. I had to have a little bit of a double look there, but that is indeed Raul. I'll also put him into the good tier. SEN, Prime SEN, very good. I like SEN on this game. Stoichkov as well, very good. Lots of people come into my streams and they say, I got this player from this pack. Is it a dub? Is it an L? And I've had several people come in and say I've got mid Stoichkov from the icon pack. And this is a mid Stoichkov, remember, not the prime, which we're ranking now. And I say I always like Stoichkov on FIFA. He's a solid striker, left footer, I believe. It's just his 3-star weak foot, which hoping EA do upgrade his weak foot for his prime card. If so, then he will be 100% cemented spot in the very good. Pitachek as well, going with the rest of the icons in the good. The rest of the icons, the rest of the goalkeepers in the good tier. We'll put them all together like that. And I believe we've only got one goalkeeper left here. No, we've got 2 goalkeepers left here. And one of those 2, Casillas or Van der Sar, are the icon that I'm talking about. That's going into very good. If you know, you know. Fernando Torres going into high tier good. I think similar to Drogba, he's probably better than everyone in this tier. Maybe not as good as anyone in the very good tier. I think that's a fair observation to say. Cafu, I'm putting into the very good tier with the big boys. Shearer, fodder. I'm sorry. Sorry, Newcastle fans. Sorry, English boys, but he's going into fodder. And there he is, Van der Sar, very good. I feel like the difference between Van der Sar and like Yashin's, I know lots of people like Yashin, Schmeichel, Pitachek are solid. For me, Van der Sar is the most elite, the best goalkeeper on the game, you could even say. Maybe I've not tried every goalkeeper, but I'm using his mid card, 6'6", ridiculous reflexes, ridiculous reactions. He's going into very good. He's just that guy. He always seems to be that guy for me, right? He's been, in fact, I literally got my team up right here. You guys can't see it, but I have played with 89 mid Van der Sar, so not even his best version. Let's see how much games I've played with him. I have played 180 games with him. I've even scored a goal with him. It was a penalty. I actually did that earlier. I felt like a bit of a rat. But still, he's ridiculous. He is the best goalkeeper in the game. Wayne Rooney. I think Wayne Rooney, very good. I like the look of Wayne Rooney, mate. Now, I will be honest with Rooney, though. I've not used him much, so I was just going off of, you know, what others have said. I will put my hands up and say I've not used Wayne Rooney much at all. In any FIFA, since he's been added, I think last year, right? I have not used him much, but he looks really solid. I think he'd be a great cam, great striker. He's got the passing to play as a cam, centre forward, maybe just laying back behind a striker, depending on the formation you play. Michael Owen will put into good. Put him into good. Yeah, I'm happy putting him into good. Lampard is going into a void. Iker Casillas, I said I'm going to put all of the goalkeepers there, but Iker Casillas, and the one thing, right, and the reason I'm putting him into the mess here instead of the same tier with Yashin, Schmeichel, Pitachek is because of the height. He is 6 foot tall, which for me is a little bit too tall for a goalkeeper. Yashin is 6'2", Schmeichel I think is 6'2" or 6'3" maybe. Pitachek is like 6'5", and then you've got Van der Sar at 6'6". So the reason I'm not going to rank him, and I'm going to rank him the lowest out of goalkeepers, I have never got along with Casillas. I've used him for over 200 games. Not this year. I've actually used him for like 7 or 8 games. I used his mid card actually. I did him in some Foot Champs playoffs. I streamed that all live on Twitch. I used Casillas. He was okay. Look, he got the dives, good diving, good handling, but he was just a little bit too short. His reach wasn't quite there. And for that matter, we are going to put him into the meh. Luis Figo. Very good. I like Figo. I actually really like Figo on this game. Litmanen we'll put into meh. Trezeguet we'll put into... Gotta think about this one. Look, I did a review on his mid card for when he got in his icon SBC, and I actually liked him. We'll put him into the high tier of meh. Once again, the definition of meh, like, it's not very clarifying. It's kind of like, you know, not great, but usable. You could get use out of him. Nedved is going into low tier, very good. I like Nedved quite a lot. Rio Ferdinand is going into very good. I'll put him just behind Thierry Henry. I think that's fair. Crespo goes into good. Pirlo goes into low tier good. I think the difference between him being in the meh tier and the good tier is the fact just 5-star skill moves. 5-star skill moves for sure. And icon number 100. I've got 91 World Cup Ito. And I'll be honest, lads, Ito would be so close to elite if he, like, bro, the annoying thing is with his World Cup, it doesn't have his in-game face and body type, so I think it affects him in-game. I think his actual card, his prime icon, it's got his in-game face. It should anyway, unless EA mess up again. I believe he's got a lean body type as well, but he still feels a little bit heavy on the ball at times. And I think if he had a 4-star skill move, if he had 5-star skill moves, it would help with that. And it would make him so much more unpredictable because you could just scoop it and you kind of move your way around that way. But because of his big body type, I think he's 5'11", 6 foot tall. We're going to put him into the very good. I think it's just a little bit limited in the box with him with a 4-star skills. And that's what stops him from being an elite tier icon. I think I'm happy with this. R9, Cruyff, Hullet, Zinedine Zidane, Pele, Cantona. I feel like Cantona's the odd one out in this elite tier. Like, you've got Jairzinho, and you know what? I said I'm not going to do it in order. I haven't really done it in order. We've kind of done the order for the best players in the very good tier, but for the rest, we're not really paying attention to the order, as I said. But I'm going to do the order of the elite of what I think. R9, undisputed, number 1. I think Pele goes to number 2. I think Hullet goes to number 3, Cruyff number 4, Zidane number 5. I forgot about Eusebio. I'm putting Eusebio just below Cruyff, just ahead of Zidane. I'm going to put Vieira ahead of Cantona, Ronaldinho just behind Vieira. I'm going to put Jairzinho here, Puskas here. Cantona is either low tier elite or high tier very good. And I cannot decide. I really cannot decide. So we'll just keep him at the end there. Lads, let me know what you guys think of this. Let's get a full shot of it. Can we even get does it fit in the frame? Not quite. It just cuts off the Yeri's and Alan Shearer's head. But let me know, do you guys agree with this? What would you change? Once again, keep the discussions, keep the debates friendly. But I've used, I'd say, at any point on any FIFA, I'd say I've used probably 85-90% of his icons. I've not used Jairzinho, but I've played against him. That new Muller icon I have not used. Wayne Rooney I've not used. But other than that, I think I've used all of them. Xavi Alonso I've also not used. Let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Davis. Appreciate the love, boys. And if you are watching this around the time of release, probably around Christmas season. So Merry Christmas. Much love, boys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Peace out.